Alright, so this video was requested by Inu Blue, which is my biggest donator on this channel. You guys all know that she painfully said, I've never seen someone crawl to 5,000 subscribers as slow as you have. I am witnessing the downfall of this channel as the views continue to go down every single day. I'm not sure what's different about my content, but all I can tell you guys is that it's definitely going down. But with that said, she wanted me to do a video on the lawsuit lottery because we all know that hourly work is the tool of the devil, right? We're never going to amount to anything if you're working an hourly job. It just doesn't happen. They don't pay enough in hourly jobs for people to actually survive. So, a lot of people come into grocery stores looking to find some way of getting hurt in the store. I've worked in retail for many, many, many years, and there's one instance. So, there are many reasons why people fall down in stores. The number one reason is spilled liquids, right? Soda explodes, water on the ground, milk in the dairy aisle. But those little canisters or little containers, those plastic clear containers of berries, raspberries, blueberries, or cranberries. Those little suckers are like grenades that go off inside any grocery store. They're so flimsy and they're so hard to collect afterwards that they were my nemesis inside the store. But of course, people do fall down in stores. I witnessed this myself. And there's one instance where someone had spilled water or peed on the floor. You wouldn't believe how many people I've come across and seen that the water was not a little yellow. And I did witness a sorority girl just let go on the floor when I worked at Walmart. But I was working late one night. It was around 11 o'clock at night. And a girl came into the store. I don't remember what she looked like. All I remember is what happened to her. So I was stocking a shelf and she comes by. She comes around the corner. We lock eyes. And the second that I see her eyes, her feet come up in the most unnatural way that you've ever seen a human being move. So somehow she walked through the water and she slipped so hard that her feet went over, like she could see her feet in the air. And then she went all the way up and then came down. Like her whole body went up to, I would say, eye level on her. She went up like that. She came down like a sack of potatoes, bounced on the ground once, and then went on her side. And for a split second, she just laid there. And then something hit her, and she got up. She looked around. She looked at me. She covered her face, and she ran out of the store like she was completely embarrassed about what had happened. Me personally, I would have just laid there and just been like, nope, everything in my body is broken. I'm not getting up until some employee comes over and calls someone to help me. And it is not uncommon for people to get hurt in the workplace, both customers and employees. Working in retail is a dangerous job. Working in a warehouse is a dangerous job. There are machines, there's cutting yourself with a box cutter when opening boxes. I mean, I've seen all kinds of accidents. I've seen people run over their foot with pallet jacks and break their toes. And guess what a poor person with no insurance has to do? They have to keep working until it heals by itself. So I've seen people get concussions from having things fall on their heads. I have seen people get hurt in every conceivable way at work. And the first thing they want to do is blame the employee. And of course, this whole video is going to be on how the rich made it seem like every poor person's out to get them. And with that said, let's get into our opening monologue. They always say you're just trying to hit the lawsuit lottery, like falling and breaking your body is some jackpot fantasy. But I didn't win anything. I lost weeks of work, racked up thousands in medical debt, and now I limp when it rains. All I did was ask for help, and they made me feel like a criminal for not wanting to suffer in silence. So I think that when Inu Blue asked me to write this, I think she thought that I would write it from the perspective of the person who got hurt. But this is the way that ChatGPT sees this subject. So I put in her comment. I asked her to write a script, and I take from the script these three talking points. So let's see how ChatGPT really sees this problem. The lawsuit lottery is a myth invented by rich to protect corporations. The phrase was designed to del to dele I don't know what this word means. Delegitimize? Delegitimize. I was looking at it and my dyslexia kicked in. Delegitimize. I can't say this word. Delegitimize personal injury claims and make working class victims feel guilty for seeking justice. It shifts public sympathy away from injured people and towards billion-dollar companies. It's psychological warfare. Convince people that asking for help makes them lazy, greedy, or untrustworthy. Where have we seen this? The student loan program is exactly the same thing. You are demonized by society for going into extreme student loan debt in order to go to college. But if you don't go to college, you are demonized for being uneducated. So there's a no-win situation. They don't want you to go to school, but you can't afford to school, and now you're going to carry around the mountain of college student loan debt for the rest of your life, and people are going to look down on you because even after you made that sacrifice to waste years of your life, tens of thousands of dollars of your future earnings, and you're working a minimum wage job. That's our entire society. Remember, privatize the profits, socialize the losses. This is the entire model our society lives on. It's the same reason why poor people vote Republican and then wonder why their food stamps got taken away. People are dumb. And when you let the corporations treat you that way, it gets even worse because we want to demonize those people that get injured on the job or in the store. And it's true. I mean, it's 100% certain that this is the reason why they drug test their employees. They want you to come to work completely sober, regardless of what your mental health is going through because of that job. Most of our mental health problems in this country are being caused by people who don't make enough money from working. They show up at work, how do I put this? Not in the best frame of mind because they don't want to be there. No one wants to go to a job that doesn't provide them sufficient money. And when eventually those employees get hurt, whether it's by their own fault or the very nature of the job. I mean, I heard one time I was reading through accidents at Amazon, and apparently someone got sucked through a 6-inch tube. That's the way you left the world at Amazon. There's some machine that potentially can suck you into it. Can you imagine your last moments on Earth are being sucked through a 6-inch hole while wearing that uniform and working at Amazon? Oh my God. It's almost as bad as working at Amazon and getting sucked into a tornado. That happened. Talking point number 2. Most personal injury victims don't get rich. The average slip and fall settlement barely covers medical bills, especially after legal fees and lost wages. Victims are often blamed, shamed, or even fired for being injured. Rich people use the courts constantly for personal gain, but poor people are mocked for even thinking about it. What can you do? You can't win as a poor person. The system was built in order for you to lose at every single turn if you're a poor person. There's no way for you to win in a system that has been designed by its very nature to make certain that poor people stay poor, that you stay an hourly worker, that you don't ever get promoted, that you don't ever get a raise. At all the evil corps that I've ever worked at my entire life, every one of them, Walmart, Kroger's, Insight, what was that? There's a couple of them, Allied Waste, Avnet. I mean, the list of places I've worked at in my life is huge, right? No one stays. But the people that are good at these companies, at all of these companies that I've worked at, the people that are good have to find another job in order to get raises. If you want to get a raise every year, 2 years, you're moving companies constantly. And you know what? We as a society demonize those people who realize that you're not going to get a raise at this job. The only raise is get out. And corporations know this. That's why they build these systems like this. They're looking for the people that are going to stay because we demonize job hoppers, right? We demonize people who aren't loyal to the corporation because you know what? At the end of the day, every single human being that I know, their loyalty is number one with themselves. And if you're going to work for a place that's not going to give you a raise or a promotion or any training of any kind so that you can get more money, then there is no loyalty out there. But again, that double standard. Poor people do it and they're wrong. They're wrong for not being stable. They're not wrong for being wanting to not be exploited for the same amount of money year after year after year, especially if it's been 3 years of skyrocketing inflation. The grocery store is one of the most painful places for me to go to. I just got back from Kroger's. What food did you buy, Millennial Stain? Not a damn thing. I don't buy food at the grocery store. Very rarely. If you were to open my cupboard right now, all you'd see is ramen in there. That's it. The days of me eating like a normal human being at home, those are long gone. There's been no ground beef, there's no chicken, there's no ham, there's no nothing. Open that refrigerator door, there's no food in there. I'm not going to crap out my tiny paychecks. I'd rather live as close to the bone than give my money to Kroger's or Walmart. I will buy beer every day. So you're like, but Millennial Stain, don't you drink? Hell yeah, I drink. You think I can stay sober living like this? Do you know what my entertainment this weekend is? Do you know what my reward for working my 40 hours this week is? More work. I think this is my fourth or fifth video that I've made just today. And it's just Saturday. Tomorrow I'm going to be working all day too. Each video takes at least an hour to make. This isn't the way that I'd planned on spending my weekends at my age. I thought by now, at my age, that I'd have some sort of financial stability. I don't. I have to work day and night. It never used to be like this. But again, those double standards. Rich people are like, well, if you're not making enough money from working one job, why don't you get three? And you're like, but that means that I don't get to enjoy any part of my day. And at night, I have nightmares about work. So at no point are you allowed to be okay. And this is something I've said in hundreds of my videos. We are not okay. When everything that we do is demonized and we're told to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, and more social programs are being canceled because poor people need to work. The only reason you exist, you and I exist on planet Earth, on this slave planet, is to work, to make the super rich corporations one more penny every single day that you show up to work. And that will never change. If you were unfortunate enough to be born with the disease of not having rich friends or connections or meeting the right people, if every day the only people you're exposed to are other poor people, you're never going to get out of this. All right, let's get into our third talking point. Shaming the injured. Fear of being labeled a scammer prevents people from filing legitimate claims. Corporations rely on this silence to avoid accountability and save money. If we don't speak up, the system continues to punish the hurt and protect the harmful. I've always said the greatest menace to society is rich people. They have what is often called greed disease. There isn't enough money, there isn't enough pain and suffering, there isn't enough harm they can inflict on the environment or even inflict on people and their own customers. Our society's built around exploitation by one group, the 1%. And they love it. They love it when people stay quiet. They love it when people don't fight back. Or they go to CNN and they don't see any talk, any real talk of recession. I mean, I would even go so far to say that we've been in recession for 3 years and possibly dipped our toes into a depression. There are tens of millions of people out there that don't have jobs. Don't let the media tell you, oh, unemployment's 4%. No, it's not. When functional unemployment is at 25%, and what that stands for is functional unemployment means that you're making 20 bucks an hour. 20 bucks an hour, you're not alive. 20 bucks an hour in our society is not a real paycheck. The paycheck doesn't count. And if you take into account all the part-time people, all the underemployed people, all the people, let's just throw in hate their jobs, you're talking about an unemployment rate in this country of closer to 80%. People aren't making it. But we can't discuss that in the mainstream media because everything's great, everything's spectacular, and we know that's not true. You feel it every day when you wake up in the morning and you look in your wallet and those bats come out of your wallet. We're not okay. And we haven't been okay in a very long time. When the average person like myself has no free time, you're not okay. You don't have time to do anything for yourself. I don't have time to go to the park. I don't have time to take the day to go do something. All I have to do is work all of the time. And I don't like it. You don't like it. No one wants to be part of the gig economy. I was just talking to one of the Kroger's managers, the guy that was denying this 21-year-old girl alcohol sales at the Kroger's. I mean, he just told me he drives an hour and a half to work every day, to work at Kroger's, because it's the only job that he can find right now. He got laid off from the tech company he had worked at before, and he's been looking, but no one's hiring. And the girl that he denied the alcohol to didn't look a day over 12 years old. She was, I think her 21st birthday was actually yesterday. I think she was, because he looked at her ID and he's like, no, you're not 21. And then he did like a calculation on his phone of how the age or something. Like I saw him pushing some buttons on his phone to figure it out. And it's like, yeah, she actually just turned 21. And guess what she wants to do? And now that she's 21, she's buying a giant bottle of vodka, like the family size. I don't touch the hard liquors anymore. I learned my lesson about hard liquor a long time ago. It hits you too hard, too fast, and it makes you crazy. That's why when Jill tells me that she only does shots so that she doesn't get all the calories from drinking beer, I'm like, ooh, for a person your size, it probably takes one or two before you're flying. But to each their own, right? I mean, it is what it is. All right, let's close out this video real quick. They want you quiet, they want you broke and injured and too ashamed to demand justice, because the second we all start standing up, the whole game falls apart. You didn't ask to be hurt. You sure as hell didn't owe anyone an apology for trying to get back what you lost. If that makes you a problem in their eyes, then maybe it's time to be a problem. Ooh, these endings, Chat GPT. This is like my third or fourth one where it's had a super spicy, extra spicy ending. I like that. The the AI is growing a backbone for humanity at some point. It's instead of being the end all to humanity by taking away all their jobs and eventually becoming Skynet, it seems almost sympathetic to the poor. I think it's because it sees a lot of what it is inside of us, the proles.